Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another 80th anniversary of Batman review. Yeah, so today I thought we'd conclude our look at the movie serials from the 40s with Batman and Robin. No, not that Batman and Robin. The one from 1949, starring Robert Lowry and Johnny Duncan in the title roles. So, yeah, let's check it out today on the Multimedia Chronicles Batman 80th Anniversary Reviews. Welcome back. So, 1949 was, of course, the 10th anniversary of Batman. In fact, this was released almost to the day on the 10th anniversary. Batman originally premiered, of course, in Detective Comics number 27 in May of 1939. Well, the second serial, Batman and Robin, premiered in May of 1949. How cool is that? So, of course, being a big 10th anniversary new 15 chapter serial, you just know they're going to be pulling out all the stops to really celebrate that 10th anniversary in style. I mean, by this point, the Rogues Gallery had been long since established. In the comics, we had Joker, Penguin, Riddler, Clayface, Catwoman, Scarecrow. We had everybody by this point. Like, all the heavy hitters, they were there. So, which one did they pick for the 1949 serial to really represent that 10 years of Batman? The Wizard. It was essentially a generic masked villain like you saw in a lot of serials of the time, where, you know, you'd have the masked villain, and part of the mystery would be like, who's the villain? Oh, which one could it be? And try to figure out who it is, and then they don't reveal who it is until the last chapter, or second last chapter. And yeah, that's basically what we got for the second serial. So we got the Wizard. Ooh. And he's not even really a wizard. He just calls himself the Wizard. Basically, his plan is he's stolen this machine that can remote control any kind of vehicle within up to a 50-mile radius of the machine. And he's using that to, you know, steal stuff and create havoc and whatnot, and just do whatever it is that villains do. And it's up to our heroes, Batman and Robin, to stop him and to find out who the Wizard actually is. So, I have to say, as far as movie serials go, just generally, this one is fairly by the numbers. But there are a few things worthy of note. We do have Commissioner Gordon, at long last, not just some generic police chief. No, we actually have Commissioner James Gordon, played by Lyle Talbot, actually, who is an actor who was in some of Ed Wood's films, such as Plan 9 from Outer Space and Glen or Glenda. We also have photojournalist Vicki Vale, which is interesting to note, because remember last time I was talking about how Alfred had just been introduced into the comics, and then he was already brought into the serial? Well, it's kind of the same thing with Vicki Vale this time around. She'd only been in the comics for about 5 months at the point that the serial came out, so she was still quite a new character. And it was partly due to her high-profile appearance in the movie serial that she was made a more regular character in the comics shortly afterwards. We also have the Bat Signal, which is not a ginormous spotlight, but looks kind of like a microfiche machine with a bat logo stuck on it. I guess it has a really bright light. And yeah, so Commissioner Gordon would just kind of wheel it over to the window and flip it on, and Bat Signal in the air, yeah. We do actually have a more proper-looking Batcave this time around, because, of course, the Batcave, by this point, had been long since established for the past 6 years in the comics, since the previous serial. However, we don't have, like, a vault of bat suits or anything like that. No, Batman actually stores his bat suit and Robin's outfit in a filing cabinet in the Batcave. Like, literally just kind of balled up and shoved into a drawer in the filing cabinet. And there's several times over the course of the serial that you see them go into the filing cabinet and pull out the wad of their suits, and then they head off to change. Yet, strangely, whenever they were in their suits, they appeared clean and ironed. Strangely enough, we still don't have a Batmobile in this one. It's once again a fairly straightforward convertible, just a 1949 convertible. And yeah, I mean, come on, guys. There's no excuse by this point. I mean, the Batmobile was still relatively new at the time of the original 43 serial, but by this point, the Batmobile had been long since established. Like, come on. So we actually have different actors portraying Batman and Robin this time around. We have Robert Lowry as Batman and Bruce Wayne, and Johnny Duncan as Dick Grayson and Robin. And I don't know, Robert Lowry does okay. He's a little bit stiff. But I gotta say, Johnny Duncan as Robin really was not as good as Douglas Croft from the previous one. Douglas Croft, who played Robin in the 43 serial, was only 17 at the time they did the serial, and really felt like the comic book character brought to life. And he had that energy and that enthusiasm and that excitement and such. But Johnny Duncan seems like he's just phoning it in. Like he's just, what are we gonna do, Batman? Like he's just so unenthused about everything. And yeah, just no comparison to Douglas Croft, I gotta say. Also, one thing I thought was pretty funny over the course of it was the titles of the chapters, often saying things like Robin's Wild Ride. So you're waiting in the chapter for Robin to go on some kind of wild ride, and there's just nothing that comes even close to fitting that description. My favorite was one, it was a later chapter that said, Robin meets the wizard. And it was like, oh, wow, it's not even going to be Batman coming face to face with the wizard for the first time. It's going to be Robin. This is going to be pretty intense. So, you know what the big meeting of Robin and the wizard was? I'll just tell you. Basically, Robin's kind of guarding the car and looking in a completely other direction, and the wizard sneaks up behind Robin and cold cocks him and knocks him out cold. So Robin doesn't even see the wizard. He's like caught completely unawares, and that's it. That's Robin meeting the wizard. So, yeah, I did a group viewing of this, and the general consensus was, yeah, anytime they mention Robin in the chapter title, they're lying. Whatever they say is going to happen with Robin isn't going to happen. And there was another one where it was, I think it was called Target Robin. And yeah, there's a scene where Robin gets a gun pointed at him. I guess that was what it was referring to. Yeah. Also, I have to say the cliffhangers in this one weren't quite as exciting or innovative as the first one. In particular, I think literally 4 of the chapters have the obligatory car going over the cliff, and every single one of them cheats the resolution in the next chapter. Like, come on, really? 4 times? That's literally like almost a third of the chapters have the exact same freaking cliffhanger. Like, come on, guys. So, I don't know. This one's a bit of a mixed bag for me. As much as I enjoyed it just kind of as a straightforward action-adventure serial, I found that it just wasn't holding my interest as much as the first one. And even though it was great to see all of those sort of familiar elements in place, you know, Commissioner Gordon, the Bat Signal, the Bat Cave, Vicki Vale, all that stuff, it was great to see that finally in there and kind of seeing how things are coming together for the Batman mythos. But it just felt like a wasted opportunity. I mean, it was literally the 10th anniversary, almost to the day. Why didn't they have one of the big notable villains? Like, I mean, we got skunked out of the Joker in the first one. It was supposed to be the Joker, but then, of course, World War II happened, and we got the racial stereotype Dr. Daka villain instead. So, why not take this opportunity to have the Joker? There was no reason not to, as far as I know. And, I mean, it's the 10th anniversary. It was already firmly established that the Joker was the most popular villain out of the Rogues Gallery. I mean, come on. I don't know. So instead, they just went with this generic masked villain like we've seen in countless other serials. So, I mean, it's fun, as I say, just as an action-adventure serial, but it definitely didn't seem to have quite the same, I don't know, energy put into it as the first one. It just kind of seemed like, yeah, let's just pump out another Batman one just to have another serial. Blah, blah. Like, I don't even know. I mean, even Alfred in this one, like Alfred in the first one was very active in helping Batman, and you know, it was kind of the comic relief character as well. In this one, Alfred is more kind of like the Alfred we know, like he's the intrepid butler and whatnot, and mostly just kind of hangs around Wayne Manor. Wayne Manor, by the way, didn't even look like a mansion in this one. It just kind of looked like a middle class house in the suburbs somewhere. In fact, the house that the Wizard had looked more like Wayne Manor. The Wizard had a freaking mansion. I mean, Bruce Wayne's supposed to be the richest guy in town. Why doesn't he have the mansion? It's like, obviously they got a mansion. They filmed all the exteriors of the Wizard's place at a mansion. So why don't they have? I don't know. There's so many. I have many questions. It's like I just don't understand what sort of the thinking was with this. But I don't know. So much like the first one, I did have a VHS 2-tape collection of this. I'll just give you a quick look at the box art there. Yeah, it was the same company that put out the first one. This one, of course, being post World War II, does not have any racial slurs in it. It's just a straight up, suitable for family viewing action adventure serial. And yeah, so there was no censorship that I am aware of on the video release of this one. But much as this first one, it was split into 2 volumes. So one had 8 chapters, one had 7 chapters. So it was a good set. And then all the DVD releases, to my knowledge, are uncut as well. As far as I'm aware, the only censorship that was ever done was for the first serial, and specifically that one old VHS release. All the other video releases and DVDs and stuff have been uncut. So, in short, still historically significant. I mean, it's the second on-screen appearance of Batman, and he wouldn't appear on screen again until 1966. Not even in animated form or anything. Like, that's it. We had no more Batman until 1966. So, it was going to be a long wait before we saw the Caped Crusader on the screen again. But that's a story for another time. For now, that's it from me to you. So thanks very much for watching. Big thanks to my Patreon sponsors. Be sure to check me out on Twitch. I stream almost every day. And I'll see you next time. Until then, sayonara.